Hello, Michelle here from the Creative Cove. Thanks for joining me today. I was recently at the thrift shop and I thought I would go through the thrift shop, a local thrift shop here called Value Village, and see what kind of inspiration I could find to make something new. I just wanted to kind of play with materials and come across different tools or whatever it may be that might inspire me to come up with some new ideas. So I was through the sewing section. I found all kinds of bags of goodies, like just endless little bags of trinkets, little crochet needles, measuring tapes, a bag, in this case, of embroidery thread. It was like $1.99. It came with all these beautiful subtle colors, which is right up my alley. I got some, what is this called? Seam binding, $2.99. It's got like lacy stuff. So I just grabbed a bunch of trinkets. And here's a bag of buttons. I'll never have to buy buttons again. $5.99 for buttons. Again, just some inspirational ideas. And I also came across these really lovely stamps, and whoever had donated them come up with a really fun way of storing them in these little CD cases. I can't wait to try these. I'm going to do a video with these incorporated in my botanical journals because they're right up my alley. They're so cute. And I think I paid $5.99 for a bunch of stamps. I think it came with 5 or 6 little stamps like this. So that was a really good deal. And another bag of sewing goodies, pins and everything. And what else? Little pieces of fabric. So what this the reason I grabbed all that was that the idea behind it was because I was moving, I found things really hard to condense to travel. So I thought maybe it would come up, instead of just a lap book for watercolor that I have, I could do a lap book that folds out and has all kinds of supplies in it. So obviously you'd be limited to what you could bring, but you could bring a little bit of everything with you. And, you know, it's something maybe you could, it'd probably be too big or heavy for a purse. But if you're traveling or if you're relocating and you can't go long without some crafty inspiration, then I thought this book would be kind of a fun idea. So obviously we're not going to make the whole book in one day. I haven't even made it yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a video. It's going to be one of those videos where it kind of just, it's just going to be hit and miss. Are they going to like that part of the video or not? But I thought we could do a series on creating a travel kit book, lap book. Let's call it that, travel kit lap book. And so this is number 1. So embroidery is something I've just started to learn. I'm not very good at it, so I'm just going to embroider today, just show you kind of like the inspiration between how I work. But anybody who does embroider might cringe at the things I'm doing because I'm not a professional. But I like to play with it. I like to have fun. So the idea that came with embroidery was the other day I was playing with embroidery for the first time, and I didn't have any embroidery fabric, so I did it in a watercolor paper. So it's a pretty heavy paper. And I just love the way that you can incorporate a whole other medium into your journals. So this was inspired by some Queen's Anne's lace, even though I did it with the yellow. And it's just a little journaling card that goes in my little signatures here. And I thought I had another one, but I don't know where I put it. Oh boy. Anyways, so I thought it would be just kind of fun to maybe do a little embroidery today. Yeah, I don't know where I put it. And as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I came across this clove here, and I thought that'd be kind of cute. And I thought maybe I'd like to incorporate some of the embroidery onto the cover. So I think the book will be made of fabric. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. I most likely will do a soft covered book, just so it kind of moves a little bit in a suitcase or a bag as opposed to a hard cover. But we'll see. We'll see as we go along. So I thought I would do this clover here today, and I just kind of wing it. So I'm not too stressed about how it's going to look. I just want to have fun embroidering. So you can draw your image out. It's probably a good idea, but I'm too lazy. So I'm just going to grab my thread and go for it. So I got all these threads for $1.99, and I picked this green and this pink to do my clover with. And it's an Anchor brand, and the number green is 266 and the pink number is 76, if that means anything. And then I found I got these little travel scissors with the kits, so I thought I'll use those too. All right, so I'm just going to wing it. So I've got my green, and I'm just going to start anywhere down the bottom here, and I'm basically just going to do a leaf. So I'm going to go all the way up, and I hope you can see what I'm doing. This is a little bit thinner. I've pre-thread my needles because I'm terrible at threading needles. I guess I can't see that well, or it takes me forever, and I didn't want the video to be any longer than it needs to be because it's probably going to be pretty time consuming just watching me sew here. But if you have materials like this, or paper, like I said, I did it in watercolor paper when I started. I didn't have any of this embroidery fabric. This hoop came with a little collection with the thread I just showed you for $1.99. So that's how I gather my materials. I don't like to buy anything brand new if I can avoid it. However, this embroidery material that I'm using is brand new, and I got a roll of it. I think for $10 or $9.99, and I got it at Michael's. And it's a little bit looser weave than I would think I would like. I think I would like something tighter, but I mean, you can use anything. You have like a cotton handkerchief that you've been hanging on to that you want to use for your journaling, then grab it and go for it. So this thread that I'm using, I couldn't thread it on this needle. It was too thick, so I pulled it apart. And I think it's 3 strands of embroidery thread together. So it makes a very fine stitch. And as watching different videos on Pinterest of how they kind of separate their threads to get a more detailed image. Now I'm usually, you just use the full size of embroidery thread because I'm lazy. I don't like to spend a lot of time sewing. But I do love the texture, and so it's one of those things I have to teach myself, is to just take your time and enjoy it. Michelle, like, stop trying to get it all done in 5 minutes. But I don't know, I just don't have the patience to take my time, and I really should, because that's what this is all about, like enjoying the process. And making mistakes and then recovering from those mistakes. Like, okay, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to change what I don't like about it? And that's all part of the creative process. So as you can see, I'm going out on the edge here, and then I pull up, and then I go back to the center of the stitch. And I'm basically just repeating that all the way down. Up, and then down. So we'll see how much I can get done without boring you to tears. But I wanted to show you how, just so that you could do this while you're watching TV or listening to the radio or whatever it is that you like to do. Learning a new language or something while you're embroidering. And it is relaxing. And it makes a really pretty result. Like real handmade addition to any journal. And I have that one I showed you, the Queen's Anne lace that I did in yellow. I photocopied that and printed it, so you can actually reuse the kind of stitching texture. It's kind of neat. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm sure I'll show it again in this video series. So I'm going to try and incorporate things like watercolor, a little watercolor travel kit. What else can I put in here? Sewing, obviously some sewing stuff. Try to figure out how to maybe design or carve our own stamps that will fit in this book. And of course, the travel kit can also be themed. So I tend to really enjoy doing botanical themed work. It's what I'm drawn to, is flowers and leaves and things like that. So that's probably what I'll be focusing on in this book when it comes to adding things, but you can do your own theme. So when you're picking things like stamps or colors, you want to kind of work with that theme. Or you can just do it as just a complete supply book. So there's my first leaf. So it's not bad. It's all right. It passes as a leaf. Maybe not specifically a clover leaf, but I like it. I'm just going to fill out this edge a little bit. I find clover leaves have very round edges as opposed to pointy like this. So I'm just going to fill that in, and I hope you can see what I'm doing. Trying to hold it where you can see it and where I can see it at the same time. I'm again back in the trailer, doing some more, taking a little break from work and playing with my goodies here. Okay, so let's do another one over here. And I'm going to join it back to the main stem. And I'm just going to rotate a little bit because it's a little bit easier for me to see the design of the leaf. So this, I don't know if you can see underneath me is this other fabric. I got it from Value Village as well. And it is a tiny little piece of scrap fabric, but it has like a watercolor design on it. I'll show you there. It's all watercolor looking, and I fell in love with it. Because one, it's got colors I like, and two, it of course has the watercolor feel, which is something I want to incorporate into this book. So I grabbed it, and I haven't decided yet whether or not it's going to be the cover, or maybe I'll sew the whole book with this and then kind of embellish it. But I thought I definitely want some embroidery on the cover. I think that would be really fun. And I just love mixing paper and other mediums all together. So in this case, sewing, thread, material, paper. What else could we add to it? What else have I done? I'm trying to think of some other videos that I've done. Even your own homemade paper. Like, oh, it's going to be fun building this book. And I might change my mind halfway through and think, no, okay, I'm going to make this book hardcovered, or, you know, that's the beauty of the creative process. So if it's something you're interested in this little journey of making a travel kit, let me know. Comment in the bottom of suggestions that we could add to this book, elements we can add, ways it can be designed, and we can do it together. Themes that you might have, so that we don't leave any themes out or any suggestions out. And I can incorporate that in some of the ideas that I'm hoping to come up with. And we'll just wing it together. Kind of like a little crafting class. So try not to get too frustrated with me. My internet here it's terrible, for lack of a better word. It's I go to upload a video and it takes 4 days. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's not like it's a 4K quality video. It's just an HD video, but for some reason it takes forever to load here. So my loading times, I can't guarantee an exact time that the video will be uploaded. So I apologize for that, but if you hit the notification bell, then you'll get notified when there's a new video up. But I would love your feedback. I would love to hear your ideas for this book, and see how successful we can make it, because I think that would be so fun just to be able to grab a book, grab your travel kit. You know, your friend says, okay, girl trip, or your husband's like, we're going away this weekend to the cottage. Well, no worries. I'm just going to grab my travel kit here and take some fun with me. And not worry about, oh, did I bring my ink? Did I bring my brushes? Well, I'm going to have it all in one place. I hope. That's in my head. It seems like a good idea. But we'll see. We'll see. So I'm starting to finish off the end of this leaf, but I'm realizing the clover actually grows from the center, all three. So we're going to have to give it that clover feel, I'm going to have to bring all this back down. So I told you it's going to be a bit of a video. But you can always fast forward or slow down. And like I said, hopefully you're stitching along with me and doing your own thing. And feel free to share that on my Instagram. Tag me on Instagram, because I'd love to see what it is you're all up to. That would be kind of fun to see what everybody's been creating. And we get inspiration off each other as well. You know, ideas kind of spin on each other's ideas. And that's why I do these videos, to hopefully inspire you to try something new, as well as kind of snowball on your own ideas. Take what I've done and take it to the next level, kind of thing. That's all. That would be awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going here, and we'll do one more leaf after this. But I just love the I don't know what words to use to describe it, but to me it has that old handmade feeling to it, which I just love. Like, even when I walk through the modern stores now, anything that has like a crocheted cover on the pillow or embroidery in the linen, I just love it. It just feels like it belongs in a home, and it should be loved and taken care of. And what I love about the secondhand stuff is it keeps it out of the landfill and it gets used. All right, so we're coming to the end of the thread here. So all I do is I run it through some stitching in the back. There's probably a proper way of doing this. I just run it through twice. I pull it and then I cut it short. And then I grab my next one. So I'm just going to put my needle there. And like I said, I've pre-thread a few so that you don't have to watch me tediously thread needles, because that's ridiculous how slow I am. So I'm going to take this one and put it out this way. So I'm going to rotate it again just so I can see the angle. And just go ahead and sew. And it's in and out and back to the center. And if you're interested in embroidering, they have some really great little videos on YouTube as well as Pinterest. They have the quick little ones on Pinterest, which I kind of prefer. They're quick and simple, and it just shows you all these kind of cute little steps, these little tricks that you can do to create the illusion of leaves instantly by the way you do these specific threads. And that yellow one that I showed you earlier has what's called, I believe, a French knot, and it's my favorite stitch so far. It's just really fun, where you just kind of wrap it around itself and then pull it through the needle. I mean, I never would have thought of something like that without being shown. So, but it's addictive. I must have done like 5 or 6 of them now. I just haven't put them into journal cards yet. And I wanted to practice a little bit before I showed you on video how I make them, because again, I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. Like, I've seen them where they go, I think it's up and then across, or something like this, where they go right across, and then they'll come up through the middle where you want that before you pull it all the way through, and then it creates that V. But again, I'm not an expert, so I don't want to show you how to do any of that stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. See, I just screwed it up right there because I went down the wrong way, but I fixed it. So if you are interested in doing something like this for your cover, or for little journals, or for our little kits, our little travel kit, then I say little, but I don't know how little this book is going to be. I think it's going to be the size of like a textbook. But the way I visualize it is going to fold open like a lap book. Like almost, and I do think some areas will be soft, like the cover and stuff, but I think we'll have to reinforce some areas, like where the pens are being held or where the brushes are going to be held, so that they don't fall out. So it's going to be interesting developing this book together. But today we're just going to do a little embellishment, and then eventually it will make, or maybe we'll sew it if the video again is not 100 hours long. We'll sew it to this fabric underneath, and then we'll have an idea of a cover without even having an idea of the size of the book yet. That's kind of how I work. So if you're meticulous and like to plan things out, you may not enjoy this series. You might want to go ahead and do that first and figure out how big you want your book. Now, I think things like the paintbrushes or the pencils, some of the tools will help determine the size of this book, right? I mean, we don't want to build it so that it's so small that we can't fit our paintbrushes in, or we don't want to build it so big that everything gets swallowed up and lost. So there will be some sort of idea. So have a look in your stash of what you want to put in it, what materials you have that can go in a travel kit that you don't need in your regular repertoire, because you don't want to take them in and out. This is something you want to keep all in one space so that you can just grab it and go. Have a look at the thrift shops, you know, have a look at the secondhand stores and the craft stores and see if there's something in there that inspires you to create this book. You know, simply a piece of fabric. For me, it was those bag of goodies. I'm like, I love all of this stuff, but where am I going to put it all, and how do I store it in a way that I can use it and access it quickly? And then, of course, I stumbled across this fabric, and I went, I'm going to do a book. I'm going to do a little kit. And I thought, how much fun would that be? Now, it sounds good in my head, and now I've got to prove it in theory. So, baby steps. All right, almost done this one. And then we'll do a little stem going up. And then we'll do the flower. And see if we have time to do a few more leaves. And if it is too long, just go ahead and fast forward me. I won't be offended. I totally understand. I hope you can see with the light. Okay, almost there. So, yeah, I just sit there. I either crochet or do this while I'm watching TV. And I just find at the end of the workday, it gets my creative fix. But most of all, I just find it very relaxing, therapeutic, and productive. Like you've got a result in the end. Okay, so there's my 3. And if you look close, you see they're not at all perfect, but still kind of charming, in my opinion anyways. I'm going to go down the bottom and give it a little bit of a stem. And then I'm just going to work my way up. So I want to make sure that I've got a stem through here. And in here. And then I'm going to come up behind this one. And back down. Now I might add a little bit more off camera. I don't know yet. Just to see if before I sew it to the cover. But no, we'll just do it together. We'll do everything together. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is do one more when it's a little bit taller. And then I'm going to do a leaf out here. And like this one, this drawing here. Make sure it's in frame. So these little leaves, but I think I'm just going to do 2. Do another one out here. And they're just going to be really, really short, thin leaves, so not nearly as much in width. So let's see if I can just pull it through like that and just keep going. But make sure they're kind of shorter, and then we'll switch to the pink. I'm just, in this case, I'm going just over the center thread instead of to it. So I come up on the side here, and then I go over the center, because these are thinner little leaves. Oops. So don't have to see all the little details. Down. And then one thing I had to learn when I switched from the watercolor paper to this fabric was not to pull so hard. Because when you pull hard, you distort this mesh. And I'm not a big fan of this mesh. I would be shopping around some more when I run out of it for a different kind of a tighter weave, I guess you would call it. I find these holes just a little bit too loose for me. And I think that just comes with playing with different types of embroidery materials, of what you like and what you don't like. I also like working with these tiny little hoops. I did a big hoop. I got a big hoop at the thrift shop as well. And I ended up being kind of overwhelmed by the space that I had to sew. So I ended up doing a bunch of little projects on that big one. But I think if I start small like this, it's a little less intimidating for me, being new at it. Okay. So I've done two little lines here, let's say. So I'm just going to tie this off, and we can come back to the green if we feel that it needs a little bit more significance. I'm just going to cut this off, and then I switch to my pink. Now my pink here, I did not thin out. This is just a solid, I guess 6 strands, I think this stuff is, the embroidery thread, because I want the flower to be pretty meaty. So how do I want to do this? How do I want to approach this? I think we'll start from the bottom of the flower, and we'll just move our way up. And so I'm just going to do these little stitches. And it kind of has a dome shape. So again, you're welcome to draw it out. You can do it in that pen that disappears with water, I guess, like a sewing pen or sewing pencil. But I just kind of like to wing it myself. I'm gonna go over on this side now, just to kind of figure out the shape, the overall shape of the flower. And clover is in full bloom here. Lots of bumblebees on it. That's something we could do too, bumblebee. And I'm just going to keep sewing. Hope you're still with me. Hope I haven't bored you. But again, just another fun thing to play with. And you can do this straight onto paper. Just make sure your paper is relatively thick, like a watercolor paper or decent cardstock. And you can embroider into that too and add that to your journals. So even though embroidery doesn't really fall into junk journaling necessary, in this case, we're going to make it. Just another little medium to play with. I really like this pink. It's very pretty. And you can get real professional. You can add layers of the thinner, like, let's say you go down to 2 or 3 strands of this. I've seen them add colors. So they kind of color like pencil crayon when it comes to using embroidery thread. They use layers and layers of colors to create some really beautiful 3-dimensional images by adding highlights, by using a lighter pink on top of this or a deeper pink at the bottom, and creates more of a 3-dimensional look. I'm not going to get into that because one, it's time consuming and I don't want the video to be that long. And I'm new to embroidery, so for me it's baby steps. Right now I just want to play with the stitching and just try to see what I can come up with on my own. And then when I get more confident at it, I'll maybe play with creating a little bit more depth. You know, once you've played with it, you you can then challenge yourself to improve. And it's the same with my sketching videos that I do. So you can sketch one or two things and be like, okay, I can see where she's going with this. I haven't got it yet, but I'm getting there. And you just keep plugging away at it. So almost done the clover here. So I want to give it a little bit more of a dome shape up here. And it's simple. It's 2 colors. But it creates a really cute little textured image for our cover. I'm just going to keep going. Bear with me. I did a workout yesterday at the gym. I have a lady who, she's got to be in her 60s, I think. She is fit as a fiddle. And she beats me up when I go to her class. She just pushes me and gets me to lift heavier weights than I want to. She just challenges me, and that's the kind of discipline I need at a gym. Otherwise, I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll just go sit in the hot tub. I need that person to be like, did you come here to work out, or did you come here to waste my time? And I'm like, nah, I came to work out. She's like, then go get those weights. I'm like, okay. And now my arms are sore today, which is to be expected because I haven't worked out in quite some time. And I just don't like being completely out of shape. And when you're a crafter, and in my case, an artist where I'm painting a lot, you're doing a lot of sitting. And so it catches up to you in the end. Everything starts to hurt when you do move it. So I thought I better get my butt in gear and move my body a little more. So I go to the gym now, and I have a lot of fun. She's fun. Don't get me wrong. She's not a drill sergeant. She's just there to encourage you. She's there to improve what your health fitness is, and that's the goal of going to a gym, right? So anyway, so I'm a little sore on the shoulders today. So there's a little clover, which I think is really cute. I find the overall feel of it a little bit small for a cover. So I don't know if you guys would have the patience to watch me do another one or not. But I'm going to just add another pink down here. And try and do it as fast as I can, so it's not too tedious to watch. But I just feel like it's not enough. I think if I put a little bit something here in this space, then the frame around this composition could be a little bit bigger, because I think that the cover is going to be at least, I'm going to say at least 10 inches. I'm just trying to think the length of my smallest paintbrushes. Must be about 9 inches. So I want to make sure that my brushes are going to be, and this could end up not being on the cover and being on the inside. Who knows? But I do feel like it needs just a little something on the side here. Just a little something, something. So, and that's the fun of doing this is, and that's why I don't draw it, because I don't know where I'm going to go with it. But even if you did draw it, you can just draw this little added part. I like kind of winging it. So, and then we'll go back to the green in a second. But it looks like clover, right? I mean, it's got a kind of clovery feel. I don't find these are too convincing for the petals, for the leaves, I mean. But the clover flowers there. It's got that dome shape and those little individual petals. So let's put this here, do a couple more, and I'll do the green. I'm not going to make this flower quite as big as the other one. I just want to add a little something in this space. So yeah, please comment below on your ideas for this project, or what you're working on, what you would put in a travel kit. What are some of the things that you guys can't go without, that you have to have close by, or the first thing that goes in your bag when you're packing for a trip and you need to bring some crafty supplies? What's your go-to? All right. Okay, I think that's good. Right? Keep going. Maybe one more up here. Let's give it more of a dome. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just tie this off here. I'll go back to the green really quick. I think I still have some threaded. And just give this guy a stem. Tie a knot on the end here, and I just basically roll it through my fingers and pull. Okay. Not going to bother with the leaves. Just going to give it a stem and attach it back to this plant. I hope you can see what I'm doing, because I'm trying to put it on an angle that I can see what I'm doing, and you guys can see it too. And I think embroidery's been around a very long time. And I've seen some fantastic embroidery in my days where it's just, wow. It truly is an art form. It's like painting with thread. I am just going to give it one petal here. Just feel like it needs it. Sorry. You're like, when's this going to end? I just feel like it needs a little green up here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'll sew this to this fabric really quick. There, I think that works. Okay. So even though I don't know what my cover is going to be, I'm still going to go ahead and sew it. Just gonna do it. And if it doesn't end up being part of the cover, then it ends up being something else. Okay, so move this out the way. These out the way. Find the end here. Maybe take the rest of my needles out the way. Before I end up dropping those on the floor. So something like, oh, there goes one on the floor. This would be the, say, the front of the cover of the book. We'll take our little cute little piece off here. And I am drawn to neutrals, but in this case I love the greens and the pink, so I started adding a little color by the looks of it. I'm going to need some better scissors here. Oh, let's see if I can reach them. Okay. So, yeah, let's just cut a piece. You know what? I don't know if I want to sew it yet, because I think I might like to put a piece of watercolor paper behind this. Or I might want to put it into a pocket. So I have a long piece of material here, which I am visualizing rolling into a triple kind of book here. So it would be, geez, okay, going off track here, but something like this, and then something like this, and then folding over on itself. So when we open it up, we can open this side and this side. So if you are going to craft along with me, have a look for something like that. That might work for you. And if you're interested in embroidering, give it a try, and use a scrap piece like this. End up cutting it. Give it a border so you have room to play with the edges. Now I should have probably cut that a little bigger, but that's okay. And then join me again for the next video, and maybe that will be the next video is how to incorporate this and maybe build the actual outside of the book. And then we'll go to embellish and build pockets and see how we want the lap book to open. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Something a little different today, but still fun and creative. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.